go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Masters Fantasy Show, brought to you by MastersFantasyFootballLeagues.com. My name is Jonathan, a commish here at Masters. Joining us today, Dynasty Owl. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing great.
Good to hear. Week 8 is here, halfway through the fantasy season. We're going to be talking about some waiver wire pickups at the tight end position. Kick this right over to you, Dynasty Owl. What tight end are you taking a look at on the waiver wire this week?
Sure. So my guy, he's a big boomer bust player. That's Cincinnati tight end CJ Uzama. Had over 20 points this past week. I think a pair of touchdowns. Had another over 20-point game this season as well. Now in between there's a lot of low weeks, but I mean, hey, a couple 20 plus points is pretty good, and especially with the way the tight end position is in fantasy the past couple years and this year too is. I mean, you just got to throw those darts and hope they hit. What's crazy about CJ Uzama is super big guy, like 6'6", 260, pretty athletic as well. And this is year 7. He's been in Cincy the whole time. At first, he was playing under, behind Tyler Eifert. Never really broke out until now, kind of. But I mean, Joe Burrow's in town. This is really his first full year playing with Burrow. And maybe all of a sudden he's a legit tight end. Now, maybe not, maybe he'll fizzle out, but, it's not, a long time ago wasn't uncommon for these tight ends to take, 5 years to break out. So I think there's a chance he could be a, borderline, legit NFL tight end going forward. Maybe not, maybe he gets replaced this year in free agency or the draft, but for the time being, I like it. I like in that offense paired with Joe Burrow. We know they've got other weapons too, like the monster Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon, but the field, there's a lot of mouths to feed, but that field's going to open up underneath for Uzama, and especially in the red zone. I like him. I think he's a good boomer bust tight end dart throw, and he finds the end zone. So I like him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it is a dart throw, but I think at this point it's a throw that you have to take.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the key points here that I like him, he's a big dude, and look, defenses got their hands full with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, as you pointed out. There's a big guy running down the middle of the field all by himself.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to miss. And then we seen it this past weekend. If you get him out there one-on-one with the safety or with a DB, I mean, dude, he could take one to the house, man.
He can.
And that Cincinnati offense, man, it's looking potent. It's looking like one of them offenses you want to be a part of. So at this point, I'll be honest, man, I picked up Uzama in a couple leagues, crossed my finger this week, and I'm not regretting it. So,
yeah.
I mean, he's a guy I'm going to try to ride the hot hand on for a little bit. Maybe he becomes an every week starter. Maybe, I mean, I'll even take a boom or butt every other week. If I get 20, if I get 20 points out of him every other week, I'm taking that. So
that's better than the 6 points a week you're going to get with most of these guys. So.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to switch over to my guy, and I actually switched my guy in between shows today. Breaking news, man, the wide receiver Devontae Adams added to the COVID list.
Yeah.
He was just telling me that in the wide receiver show.
Yeah.
And it got me to thinking about Bobby Tunyon for this week.
Yeah, dude.
And, he's a guy that I actually I started him in a couple of this weeks, but I was on my last leg with him.
Right.
Like it was either going to be this week or – speaking of Uzama, there was a couple leagues where Tunyon was my only starter.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the waiver wire thinking I'd be better off starting one of these guys. I was personally having a hard time cutting Tunyon because I believed in him. I thought the touchdowns would come up, the touchdowns would go down, receptions would go up. I just thought he'd be a part of this offense, and he hasn't been. Past week, 4 for 63 and a touchdown. Put him back into some respectable numbers at the tight end position. I don't know how it's all going to play out for the rest of the season, but if Adams is out this week, I definitely want to start Bobby Tunyon in my lineup. So,
yeah, no, I love that take. Tunyon's a guy who I got a decent amount of him this year. I knew last year was a little fluky, but I mean, he was super productive last year. I think he was the number 3 overall tight end in terms of year-long scoring. Paired with Aaron Rodgers, it's hard not to like him. But yeah, this year, just early on, it wasn't there. And I mean, if you'd watched the games too, there were times Aaron Rodgers just underthrew him a bit, or there was interference where he doesn't get the reception, but they get the yardage. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was playing awful. It just hadn't really clicked yet. And I think we're slowly starting to see that. And like, I kind of forgot all about, I mean, even I brought it up on the last show, that Devontae Adams, I forgot what that means for Robert Tonyan as well. Because, yeah, I know I've got him on the bench in a couple leagues. I'm going to make sure I slide him into the starting lineup this week, especially after seeing him come along last week. And then, yeah, if Adams is out, that's huge for Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, because I think if Adams is out, I'm with you. The number one guy I'd want to own is Lazard for this week. But I'm thinking the number two guy for me would be Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, I completely agree. And especially considering, how hard it is to find a tight end, where you can find a lot of receivers out there. But yeah, I mean, a guy like Tonyan, his uptick in targets is going to help tremendously in the tight end slot.
Right. And I was thinking about it too. That's why I switched over mid-show.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
I will toss out the guy I was normally going to talk about. I really wanted Doc to be here for this one. I know this is his guy. And I'm not sure if he's ever talked about Comet in the past recently. He might have, but I'm just going to toss his name out there. Cole Comet, a guy that I got my eye on, even in redraft leagues, man. Four or more targets now in 5 of the last 7 games. Led the team this last week in receiving yards, which really wasn't hard to do if you watch the game. I know that's probably not that impressive, but still, man, Justin Fields isn't doing much at all. But, I mean, one of the guys he's looking at is Comet. I truly got to believe it's hard to watch, man. These games are hard to watch as a Buckeye fan, a Justin Fields fan. I got to be honest, man. I was hoping he was going to be the Ohio State quarterback that could come into the league and kind of change the narrative around on that. I'm still holding out hope, man, but it's been really tough to see. I'll say this, man. Justin Fields can play, man. He can play under pressure. It's a little shocking to me. I don't really know what's going on in Chicago. I'll tell you this much. If they can get it figured out, get Justin Fields a little bit more protection back there, get him a little bit more comfortable in that offense, look out, man. He can play. He's looking at Comet. I wouldn't be surprised if they can right the ship in Chicago with Justin Fields if Comet, could possibly push into that top 12 second half of the season tight end.
Yeah, no, I love that take. And just looking at, the pieces that Chicago has, and I know it hasn't been pretty, but, they've got Allen Robinson, who's that, big X receiver to put out on the outside. Then they've got Darnell Mooney, who's the speedster, who also really is best used on the outside, stretch the field deep. Yeah, they can move them both into the slot, but I think both of those guys are actually utilized best on the perimeter. And then a guy like Cole Kmet, I mean, he can be your middle of the field guy. And for a young quarterback like Fields, I mean, those quick, easy throws to a tight end over the middle of the field, I think that's what they need to get him going. Some play action rollout type of stuff with Kmet following him. So I think there's, one, he's already doing it, but 2, there's an even bigger path and the rest of the season outlook for him. And yeah, I think Justin Fields is just going to get more productive as he gets more comfortable and they start, tailoring this offense more to his skill sets and letting him roll a little bit.
Yeah, I hope it's soon, man, because these games have been tough to watch.
Yeah, they have.
They've been tough. So any other tight ends you're thinking about this week? Or
man, I'm all out on tight ends.
Me too.
Talked about them on. I mean, it's just such a thin position. You guys all know that. So
yeah. I also think you could hop back into probably the videos the last 2 weeks. Might be a guy or two still.
Yeah, we've talked about a lot.
So
yeah.
All right, good.
Evan Ingram was the guy I threw out last week, where this week we finally saw a little something, had about 10 points. So I think, if you didn't get him last week, go ahead, pick Evan Ingram up this week because people have been dropping him. But yeah, that's about all I got.
Okay. All right, good stuff. That's going to wrap up this edition weekend waiver wire for the tight end position. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you could hit the like and subscribe button, love for you to come be a part of the Masters family. Dynasty football, redraft, best ball, playoff leagues, currently running weekly leagues. We got it all here at Masters Fantasy. Love for you to come be a part of it. Any last words, Dynasty Owl?
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.